What's up, everybody? It's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and in this video we're going to be killing the Overpower Level 8 Ancient Dragons of Destruction using Vladof E-Tech sniper rifles here on Sniper Zero. Showing you my gear and skill build there on my first attempt, which didn't go so well, and so now I'm not going to try to use the B shield, and I'm going to use a little bit more defensive shield as well. With the Vladof rifles, I found that I definitely benefited from starting with the stockpile relic because of the extreme fire rate here on the Vladof E-Tech. It was a little bit difficult to control, and so having the stockpile relic was definitely going to help me get more shots on target with, fewer trips to the ammo shrine, which I felt like I needed for Heliant's first landing, and then I switched to a Bone of the Ancients at some point during the run. I had recently made a Does It Suck video on the E-Tech rifles, or the E-Tech snipers, and obviously they definitely sucked without the community patch, but with the community patch, they're quite good, as this video will be able to show you a little bit. I'm doing post-commentary for these kills here just because as I was recording this, I did not have my mic on, and so I was just kind of playing through these dragons here, but I got a few good kills, and I decided that we'll do post-commentary for these kills. So, the first time I get Heliant down, I'm just trying to get as many critical hits on him as I can. He's a pretty tough enemy, he's got a ton of health, and he has a few attacks that can really do a lot of damage to you. Worse yet, all of the other three dragons are still alive, and so I'm really kind of relying on my transfusion grenades to keep my health up. Still go down though, and even though I did not kill Heliant, I did, gather quite a bit of critical ascension. And so I figured with this amount of critical ascension, I would be able to get a second wind off of the little spawns that Brood makes if I got Brood to land quick enough. And I did, so some pretty good luck there. This was my second attempt. Like I said, the first attempt did not go well. If you're killing the dragons without pre-stacking with the E-Tech rifles, it's still going to be a little bit difficult. Can definitely be challenging at times. So we'll get rid of those two little guys. I'll switch to the Bone of the Ancients at this point so that now I have a significantly increased damage, and I'll also get Deception a lot quicker so that I'm a little bit safer. Helianth pauses here, and I want to get as many critical hits on it as I can right there. So now it's basically down to about half health, and I am getting really low on ammo. So I'm going to come over here, hit the ammo shrine, and then get ready to kill this thing. So I was a little bit worried about it rising up right here. That's a little bit of a glitchy behavior, and sometimes that causes it to fly off into the sky a little bit earlier than it otherwise would. But it jumped down for me here, which was good because it allowed me to get yet another second wind, which I needed. At this point in time, we're going to bring down Boost. I missed with all of my kunai there, which was a shame. Unfortunately, even though we did have a decent amount of critical ascension, we weren't able to kill Boost before it leveled up Incinerator. But with Incinerator being the only other dragon left, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. We do have a crazy amount of critical ascension now as well when we kill this enemy. Looks like we're at about 88. So that should be more than enough to kill Incinerator here. We'll bring Incinerator down using a non-elemental rifle to bring these enemies down, because if you apply a status effect to them when they land, or as they're landing, and they have a status applied when they land, then they cannot be slagged until they take off and land again, which is tremendously irritating, because obviously you need slag to deal good damage to them. Makes the fight a lot more dangerous if you don't pay attention to that. So we're getting Incinerator pretty low here, obviously using the shock version of the Vladof that we were using before. I believe it's called a Moloko, and we're using it with a Vladof grip and the base damage accessory. At this point, the only real limiting factor we have is potentially running out of ammo, but he's down to under a quarter health, and at this point he gets wrecked. So we did have to build up over 100 stacks of critical ascension in order to kill that guy without pre-stacking first, and it was a little dangerous. Like I said, it took me multiple attempts. Luckily it only took me 2 attempts, but with worse behavior from the dragons, it definitely could have taken, several attempts, dozens. If you just get bad behavior from the dragons, it could be pretty bad. And obviously you saw in that fight there, I needed to get a couple second wins secured in order to make it work. So with that said, that is kind of a dangerous strategy. I did run through the boxes at the end of this run here, and I looked at the gemstone weapons that dropped. With the community patch applied, the dragons are always going to drop 4 gemstone weapons, which is pretty sweet, and that might be one of the ways that I farm eventually for a low-level Droog that has, the Garnet rarity or the Gemstone rarity. But, maybe that's for a future video. Right here, I'm going to show you guys how to get ready to kill the dragons with the pre-stacking method, and we'll use the E-Tech rifles here for that as well. So what I'm going to do is get all the mimics out and about, and then we're going to stack critical ascension on them and kill the dragons. This way is a lot safer. It takes a little bit more prep time, but you can virtually guarantee a kill if you stack up critical ascension. I did run through to all the dice chests after that kill there where I did not stack critical ascension, and I didn't really get anything at all from the dice chest, which is a little bit disappointing. Regardless, we're getting all of these mimics grouped up here, and then I'm going to lead them up these stairs. They are programmed so that they do not go beyond a certain point on these stairs, and so you can run up here and get behind a wall, and they'll never be able to hit you. What I'm going to do now is drop the legendary sniper comm and a bone of the ancients so that I can, pick those up after we've stacked a little bit of critical ascension. We could also potentially use a Rough Rider shield to gain a fearless bonus as we stacked this critical ascension, but it's truly unnecessary. I'm trying to throw my deception decoy there to try to get those guys stuck a little bit so that one of them will present an eye to me that I can stack critical ascension off of. You don't always get them to face you, and sometimes you have to shoot them from behind or at the side, but this guy here got real stuck and he was facing me, so made for an easy stacking session here. And we're just going to run through a few mags. One of the reasons why I might want to get a Garnet Droog instead of this one here is that Garnet is the next rarity up, or Gemstone rarity, and so that would give me even a little bit more in the mag than 55 when I'm using, a perfect magazine size accessory and a perfect chaotic neutral rogue comm. So with that, you would have even more in the magazine, and you can see that once the magazine gets through its first, 10 rounds or so, after that everything is laser on point. And so if I was able to get one with an even bigger magazine, it would make stacking even easier. One of the reasons I might be farming for a Garnet Droog here on my legitimate character or my farming character here shortly, but that's for a future video. Right now we did get well over 200 stacks of critical ascension, up at 230 plus at the moment, and we're going to run down to the dragons. Now obviously with the community patch, the stacks tick down a significant amount slower, or 3 times as slow basically. I think instead of decaying at 1 stack a second, it's now decaying at like 1 stack every 3 seconds or so. So you definitely hold on to those stacks a lot better, which is good because it makes it a lot easier to use critical ascension effectively. What we're going to do here is bring the dragons down and then run over to the ammo shrine so that I will have enough ammo. Obviously I just used all of my ammo to stack critical ascension. You'll see how quickly the dragons die though after we stacked critical ascension. So I just wanted to secure at least 1 critical hit there on Helianth to kind of stop the decay that was happening on my critical ascension stacks, at least momentarily. Now we'll get Kunai and Slag on this guy, and he's dead. We'll bring down the green one next, hopefully. That's my preferred order at least, and then we'll kill the green one as well. Getting it slagged and death marked, and we also took out its little one, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, when we bring Brood down here, I think I'm actually able to kill it before it levels up Incinerator. We never saw Incinerator get the purple aura, and so I don't think he leveled up, which is cool. So we're waiting for him to start his fire dance now. I'm looking at my ammo count and deciding that I don't really need to go to the ammo shrine over there. So at this point, we're just going to get ready to slag this guy and then finish him off with the shock rifle. So he's death marked, he's slagged, and we had a ton of critical ascension, so he died very, very easily. I waste some time here just kind of standing over the loot source. I wasn't entirely planning to do another kill, but when I saw how many stacks of critical ascension I still had, I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and do another kill. And so I kill myself here by jumping off the ledge so that I can get back to the new U station as quickly as we can, because the new U station is pretty close to the exit to the map. We're going to exit the map here, and then we're going to come back in and kill the dragons one more time. Obviously, my critical ascension stacks are ticking down further than they were when we started the fight for the first time, so it'll definitely be a little bit more challenging the second time through. So, popping back to the layer of infinite agony, giving the Reaper dude there the iridium, and then while that door was dropping, I wanted to get at least one critical hit on these little fellers, but I wasn't doing very good at it. I was doing that just to try to preserve my stacks a little bit more as I went back into the Winged Storm map, and then we have to run all the way back to the dragons here, which does take a little bit of time. And the stacks still have a lifetime timer limit with the community patch. After about 5 minutes or so from the time that you first acquired that stack is its lifetime timer. And it will go away after that. It will, start ticking down really fast or as quickly as you gain them. So if you gained, 50 stacks off of one magazine or so, you'll see that 50 stacks fall off as quickly as you gained them about 5 minutes later, even if you are getting a critical hit every few seconds or so, which is kind of strange. It kind of sucks a little bit, but oh well. You can see that the gear is still down here on the platform. I could theoretically use some of those grenades or some of those snipers to recover my ammo as we go through this fight, but I don't think that I do that. We're going to bring Helianth down again. You can see me trying to at least get one critical hit there. Doesn't look like I was able to do it. I'll definitely get one here, though, after we get him slagged and kunai'd. Perfect. We still have over 200 stacks, so these guys are going to melt. And then we're going to see that at some point in time, my stacks really start to go away. And so the last bit of the fight is a little bit harder than the start of the fight, which is weird, considering there were less dragons. But you can see that my stacks are really falling off now. Even though I was getting some critical hits on this guy, my stacks just keep decaying. So we'll kill that guy, and now we're down to the last dragon. But you can see my stacks at this point, the stacks that I originally built up on the mimics, has fallen down significantly. So at this point I am a little bit concerned about my ammo because I see my stacks falling even more. So I figure it would be best to be closer to max ammo. I'm not really worried about dying at this point because there is only Incinerator left and I have quite a few transfusion grenades. If there were other dragons still alive, that would be a problem. But even though I don't have a ton of critical ascension, I still have 50 plus, so my attacks are dealing quite a bit of damage. And as long as we keep our distance from him here, we're able to finish him off. Killed the dragons, 3. I actually killed them a time or 2 that I didn't include in this video, but killed the dragons, 3 or 4 times here. And I actually didn't get a legendary at all. I think in total I killed the dragons 5 times. And I didn't get a single legendary from the platform here, which is kind of strange because I remember them coming a little bit more commonly than that. And also, I don't think, at least, I got any legendaries from the chest, and I ran the iridium chest like 3 times too. So kind of a shame there. I will show you the best item that I got from the iridium chest, and I'll also show you a strange little glitch we run into here when you leave the map with the mimics spawned. You'll notice that, as I look at these gemstone weapons here and then we eventually work our way into that mimic room, that the mimics are not going to be overpowered level 8. I find this a little bit irksome because it would make it easier to just come back into the map and farm critical ascension again, but that's not the case. You'll see what I mean. Not only are they not overpower level 8, they're pretty much the opposite of overpower level 8. I don't really know the reasoning behind this glitch, but it is kind of strange. So just finishing up running through the loot pool here on the platform. Obviously that was, 2 kills, so there's quite a bit of loot around. And now you'll see what I mean. That's a level 1 mimic, which is weird. Obviously level 1 mimics aren't going to survive getting shot by an overpower level 8 gun. Even when you don't get critical hits, they still die. So there are quite a few of them here, and we'll just, mass fire all of those guys. Weird that those, were overpower level 8 until we went out the door, and then they become overpower, or just not even overpower level 1. They become level 1. Nowhere near overpower levels. Very strange to me. So these chests have always been a little bit disappointing to me as well. I don't feel that I get a ton of good loot out of them. Sometimes I have, sometimes I've gotten a few legendaries out of them or whatever. And I think I have in the past pulled at least one good rogue comm from one of these, but still a little bit disappointing. We actually do find a E-Tech sniper though. I won't, use that E-Tech sniper. It doesn't end up being a perfect one, and obviously this is the character that I use gibbed on anyway, but it's still cool to kind of find pretty much the same sniper that we killed them with. It's not exactly the same. We'll get to it in just a minute here. I'll also show you guys a pair of chests that are a little bit hidden, over here on this tower. They keep these two a little bit out of sight. I come check them, pretty often, and I did get a 20 from this one. But I can tell you that I've never come over here to these two chests and had any special luck with them. I don't think that those chests are programmed any differently than any other chest. So maybe you'll get lucky with those, but they're kind of out of the way. I don't know. It doesn't take too long to get to them. What I'm saying is that all the time that I've spent going to those two particular chests, I think has been pretty much wasted because I've never really pulled anything nice from them. Also, you can get two giant monsters that fight in the background of this map. It doesn't happen to me. I think it's happened to me one time, and I'm not sure really what causes it. I think it's definitely more likely if you're playing with multiple people than if you're playing solo, because I've killed the dragons, and I kid you not, hundreds of times without getting that thing, except for one time, I think, when I had multiple people in my game. I really don't know what causes it, and when I ask some people, pretty much everybody just says it's random. The only advice that people have is that you kill the mimics in that room. And so maybe that's why I don't see it too often, is because I release the mimics before the dragon fight, but I'm not sure. Anyway, there's the Moloko we found. As always, guys, I hope to catch you next time. I thank you very much for watching, and if you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. Bye, guys.